There are a lot of interesting students at WHS. Let's take a look at one special senior, Rebecca Flood. So I'm here with
Becca Flood.
So what is your favorite type of art to do?
I would definitely say fashion and illustration.
Why is that?
Well, fashion, I like that it's kind of like everyone's first impression because people are going to judge you by your cover anyway, so at least with fashion you get more control over that.
I'm aware that you're going to Parsons next year for college. What is the process and what was it like getting into that?
It was a little intense and crazy. It is the usual transcripts, a couple essays, that kind of stuff, but it was also a 9 to 15 piece portfolio of my favorite work. And then we had to do a Parsons challenge, so I did this big pillow, and it had to be inspired by a previous theme in our portfolio. So it was a lot of work, but it definitely paid off.
So at Parsons, what are you majoring in?
Well, I applied to the new school for a dual degree pathway, so I'll be getting a major or a degree in a liberal arts like psychology or writing, and then I'm doing fashion design at Parsons.
I'm aware that you designed your own prom dress and your own homecoming dress. How did you come up with those designs?
It was a lot of the typical creative process where you start off with one idea and it kind of changes along the way. The homecoming dress I made my sophomore year, it was in a houndstooth coating, and I knew I wanted something that wasn't going to be like every other dress, and something that was a two-piece because that was flattering for me at the time. But also I wanted something that was a relatively warm fabric so I wasn't freezing cold walking in. So I went with a houndstooth coating, which was a pain in the butt to work with, but ended up being worth it. And for the dress, that was a similar thing where it started off one thing and turned into another. I knew I wanted blue because I have blue eyes, and it typically looks good with my skin tone and everything. It was originally supposed to be a white top with a little bit of mesh at the neck and then the blue bottom that I wore. Last minute, I completely scrapped that idea because I hated the white top. It was disgustingly plain. So I went to Joann's Fabrics. I bought 2 yards of the prettiest blue fabric that I could find and just completely restarted.
Can you explain some of your big art accomplishments?
Sure. So this first piece is something I'm working on for my portfolio class, and it's called a previous title project. So we have to pick up a title of a previous artwork by a famous artist and recreate it. Mine was Dreamtime, and though it's not yet an accomplishment, it's definitely a big undertaking because I'm doing it entirely in marker rather than watercolor or colored pencil, so that is proving difficult, so I'm happy I've gotten this far. When I did an art program 2 summers ago, we were required to do one 2D and one 3D class, so I did printmaking as my 2-dimensional class and textiles as my 3-dimensional class. At the end of the program, they pick one kid from each of the classes to get this award that puts their artwork in the Albany State Building in upstate New York, and I happened to win it for both my classes, which was really cool. So I have pictures of the textiles one, and what I did was we were given the theme of Peter Pan, and then 2 weeks, and I was given 5 yards of fabric and 2 things of fabric dye, and I created a giant rug and a bag and a skirt. That was all kind of Peter Pan and Lost Boy inspired, and I absolutely loved doing that. I spent every night in the studio from 5 to 11 working on it, and then sometimes my roommate would wake up and I was sitting on the floor trying to sew things together. And the other one was a class I was really nervous to take, and that was printmaking. Because it's different. You're working in a different material every week, so it's the process of carving into something, rolling ink over it, and then pressing it onto a paper. So my 2 favorites were, the first week we did it into plexiglass, which is a plastic, and I did bumblebees for save the bees and everything. And the next one that I did, this was the one that won the award, was I did a series of prints of just a torso. And I wrote all of my deepest, darkest secrets in the back of the copper. But what was great about that is when you print something, all the words reverse, so no one can actually read them. So I'm the only one who knows all of these secrets spread out across them. So I really enjoyed that one, and it was great conceptually. So I think that's definitely one of my favorite pieces.
This is Nicolette Smith from BGTV. Back to you in the studio.